How you doing? I'm Tony. Welcome aboard the Rambles. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at this one-of-a-kind Reading and Northern Caboose. We're going to look at why I got it, how I customized it, and I'll do a brief review. Before we get started, I wanted to encourage you to stay to the end because I have a few updates about the Rambles, my channel, and the layout. Let's begin. Let's talk about why I got this caboose. Every modeler that I know likes to personalize their layout with scenery or trains that have some sort of significance. Maybe tells a story about that modeler's life or otherwise holds some special meaning. When I turned 33 in mid-June, my wife treated me by renting out the entire caboose on the Lehigh Scenic Railway, which is operated by the Reading and Northern. It's a fantastic ride that leaves from Jim Thorpe, goes up the tracks a few miles, and then comes back to the station. For today's ride, we were actually behind the bike train, which you should look into if you're into trains and riding bicycles. But because we were behind that train, we actually got to shove back, which means the locomotive pushed the train back, with the caboose now being at the front of the train, and a conductor was there with us, actually radioing the signals to the engineer. So let's take a look inside the caboose. It really is so neat the way they preserved it. I gotta say, it was cool to be able to open the window and look out and feel the breeze. It was overall an awesome experience, and I understand pretty reasonably priced. My wife, of course, got me a cake with the Reading T1, and they announced my name, well, at least a name, over the loudspeaker in the train to celebrate my birthday.
Birthday boy on our train today, Tommy.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Tommy.
In all seriousness, I am so grateful to my wife for putting this day together. It was so much fun. I think that the Lehigh Gorge Railway is just a fantastic railway. I wanted to immortalize this experience, so I went on Mr. Muffin's Trains, where Steve has curated a fabulous collection of unlettered custom runs. And he just so happened to have a caboose that looked just like the one that we rode on for my birthday. And so I ordered the caboose, and I decided to use a Cricut machine to cut out decals, which I then applied to the side of the caboose. I think it turned out really well, and I'm quite happy. But if I did this again, there are a few things I would do differently, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Here we get our very first look at the finished product, and I'm going to overlay a photo of the caboose on top, and you can see it's pretty darn close. First thing I did was measure the windows so I could get the text to scale. I used a website to match the font on the side of the caboose to a font I can use on my computer, and I made graphics in the Cricut software. Then I cut out the decals and applied them to the side of the caboose. It really was that easy. Now, if you don't know what a Cricut machine is or want to learn more, there are loads of tutorials all over YouTube, and folks on the O-Gauge forum have even used one to cut wood to make structures, so it's quite versatile, but was really just designed for cutting crafts and things of that nature. After cutting shapes and text into your vinyl stickers, there's a whole process of removing the excess vinyl. Typically, this is a little bit more time consuming. I generally cut extra text or shapes in case something gets messed up. Most often in modeled railroading, you're printing things that are very, very small, and it's easy for that to come up with the excess vinyl. So I recommend cutting a few extra pieces just so you have it. Once everything is cut and weeded, I then use a small piece of transfer tape to lift the text up off of its base and place it onto the side of the caboose. These letters are just about a ½ inch high. I think the machine does a great job cutting even the smallest pieces to look crisp. However, the vinyl stickers are pretty thick, and that becomes problematic around areas like the rivets that you see running down the center of this rolling stock. And herein lies what I might do different next time. I've since bought waterslide decal paper, and that will work very similarly with the Cricut machine cutting out these shapes, but instead of having a thick vinyl sticker, it would be a waterslide decal that you might be familiar with from other model kits. At any rate, the waterslide decals would lie fairly flush with the side of this caboose. The rest of the elements went on in a very similar manner, but I don't want to bore you with the details. Rather, let's take a look at the train running on the track. I tried to match it to the real life train that ran on my birthday the best I could. However, I don't have such a wide variety of rolling stock. Today's consist is being pulled by the GP30 from the 2021 Big Book, followed by this awesome baggage car from the 2018 Big Book. There are a few other Madison cars that are on this train, mostly Lionel. However, there is one of the recent Atlas releases. This is the Atlas Premier O-Scale Lehigh Gorge Scenic Railway passenger car that came in a set of 4 and is supposed to match the upcoming Pacifics, which should be shipping to the United States pretty soon. Of course, I have that locomotive pre-ordered, and I plan on doing a review comparing it to the Pacifics released by Lionel a few years back. You won't want to miss that review, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Here, we get our first look at the caboose on the tracks. I think it turned out pretty well. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. The decals on the bottom right are just printed on some vinyl sticker paper using an inkjet printer. This certainly gets the job done. However, I've got some different ideas that I plan on using in the future. Let's pull it back into the station so we can get a closer look at this MTH Premier Reading Caboose. Mr. Muffin has this O-Scale Premier center cupola steel caboose up on his website for $79.95. I'll put a link in the description. However, I'm not affiliated or anything, just thought it might help. Now, according to MTH, this is a 1924 Reading Company design that was so widespread throughout the Mid-Atlantic region, rail fans dubbed it the Northeastern Caboose. Besides Reading, the original owners of this caboose included Western Maryland, Lehigh Valley, Central Railroad of New Jersey, and several other lines. Through mergers and acquisitions, these were eventually painted in schemes ranging from yellow for the chassis system to blue for Conrail. Of course, with this being a premier rolling stock item, it's loaded with extra features. Let's go over them now. This car has a decorative brake wheel, interior lighting and detail, as well as a brakeman figure. There are loads of separately applied grab irons, even a firecracker antenna, smokestack, and walking boards on top of the car. The four-wheeled trucks are die-cast, the wheels and axles are metal, and it also has mounting pads for KD couplers. Finally, you could run this on just about any layout. It operates on 031 curves. On this side of the caboose, it's worth pointing out the air brake hose just beneath the coupler, as well as the marker light that you can see on the top. So what do I rate this? This gets a full chugga chugga choo choo out of my chugga chugga choo choo rating system. Yes, I'm being biased, but anyway. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I have a bunch more in the works, so make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Next, I want to move on to a few updates. First, I will be at the Greenberg's Train Show on July 16th. I plan on being there until about noon, where I'll be running trains with the North Penn O-Gaugers Modular Railroad Club. I'm a member of the North Penn O-Gaugers, and we've been working really hard to get our setup ready to go for this show, so I hope you can join us. There have been lots of developments here. For one, I got my first big boy. A few months back, JD Stux did a video on how awesome the MTH Big Boy was, and I was convinced. Here it is. Also, I received 2 Acela sets. I got the OG prototypical Cupola as well as the concept. I think that one's really neat. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a video about it. Also, the Strasbourg wood-sided coaches came in and they look great. And I'm really excited about this. I dropped off 2 third rail FP7s to Harry Heike's house, and he's currently converting them into SEPTA FP7s. So stay tuned for that. And last, I sent out one of my MTH Reading T1s to be repainted to look just like the 2102 that has been rebuilt by the Reading and Northern. I rode behind that train on July 2nd. It was an awesome experience, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. In fact, I have a video to show you just of that day. It's very, very brief. But before I put that on, I wanted to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.